The Settlers 4 Gold was far and beyond my favourite PC strategy title growing up. I remember my friend lending me a copy to try out, and due to some very clever countermeasures, I couldn't produce iron as my steel mill would produce pigs instead. This prompted me to buy my own copy that very same weekend, and I never looked back. The appeal was you weren't just building a huge army to rush the enemy bases, you were building a settlement. Your woodcutter would take felled trees to a sawmill that would produce planks, which would then be carried off to produce buildings, while a forestry expert would replant trees. The complexity of systems at play meant many hours were spent just watching your settlers work their production chains, with the ultimate goal of forging iron weapons and paying your soldiers gold to fight for you. It was so easy to get lost in, and despite my memory issues, I still remember playing many weekends, creating huge economies. There was nothing quite like it, with the exception of the Colonists on Switch, which was a more robotic version of this unique economy combat style game. Enter The Settlers' New Allies for Nintendo Switch, a game that was almost ghost dropped yesterday morning on a digital only for a hefty price point of $89.95. Despite releasing on PC months beforehand and receiving rather lukewarm reviews, I decided to take the plunge and do a bit of a unique spin on this review, scoring it for the game it is, and then following up with my thoughts on the sequel it claims to be. The story is fairly standard, which follows your tribe escaping turmoil to new lands only to get caught up in the new world's turmoil. It plays it safe, but the campaign was still fairly fun, and the nice set pieces and cutscenes did add some depth to the game as well. The different factions all have their unique style and abilities and are balanced, meaning your choice during skirmish and multiplayer may come down to simply cosmetics. I actually managed to have a lot of fun playing the Settlers' New Allies for Nintendo Switch, and I'm pleasantly surprised they managed to keep the production system a main focal point in the latest entry. It's not fair to say it's been dumbed down, it's more been simplified. While you don't have to manage water and food as intensely as before, food is now used to boost the production of your building and systems, and the water has been scrapped altogether. I would have liked to have seen a much more in-depth production system, but I also feel like this would be a great entry for newcomers to the series. I still found enjoyment in watching my woodcutters transport logs to the sawmill, and did find that poorly managed resources did punish you, requiring a bit of strategy and forethought as to how you want to plan out your settlement. You can create multiple settlements as well, and in one instance I had a main town producing wood and food, which linked up to an industrial focus district, which forged weapons and trained my soldiers. While a lot of depth in the production systems led to several challenges, I did find combat was simply a matter of building more soldiers than the enemy, which may disappoint some people. There aren't a lot of variations in military units, unfortunately, and most of the time you can lean on your stock standard infantry and archers to get the job done. There are, however, some baffling decisions made with the game which seem to range from absolutely pointless to downright confusing. For starters, you can't select a map to play skirmish on, and quitting to reload for a better map counts as a loss, even when playing solo versus the AI. My record was tarnished simply by trying to find variations in the environments for screenshots for this review. The other standout issue in the game is that it has microtransactions for cosmetic items and boosters. As it's early days, it's hard to tell how much of a grind it will be to buy new cosmetic options for buildings, and real-world currency transactions range from $5 to $75 on a digital-only $90 title. The price for entry alone for this game is already steep, so I feel like microtransactions have absolutely no place here. Another huge omission is the complete lack of difficulty settings, making the game really easy even to newcomers. I would like to see them ramp up aggressiveness in the AI in a future update. Another baffling addition is the need to be connected to Ubisoft servers, not only for rewards and unlocks, but even to play skirmish against the AI. I played a 4-hour skirmish match for the services to go into maintenance mode, cutting off any chance of rewards for the match. After this happened, I decided to try the campaign again, and was prompted that since I was offline, well, Ubisoft Connect was anyways, I would not be able to unlock any rewards regardless. Considering the Switch is a largely handheld console designed to be played in places where network connection may not be stable or available at all, the lack of offline mode or progression just simply does not make sense. The standout of Settlers' New Allies on Switch is the performance and visuals. The game looks incredible on both handheld and docked, and runs as smooth as 30 frames per second, which appears to be locked. There were some small resolution switches in handheld mode that were noticeable, but it didn't really detract from the gameplay. Some animations weren't very smooth when zoomed out either, but taking a closer look at your settlement shows workers and engineers ticking away at their day-to-day jobs, and it's quite entertaining. The environments are rich and diverse when you get the right map, especially in the campaign missions, and lighting and shadows make the game have that AAA quality shine, so to speak. Despite the baffling development choices centering around network connectivity and microtransactions, all of this actually leads to an intricate settlement game that stumbles a little when it comes to fight. It was still a joy to play and a great starting point for new players. Fingers crossed we get to see more Settlers games in the future, and they take a deeper dive into the production chains that are so satisfying to see when it all comes together. Like my mini followers, I really hope to see the developers build on this new foundation and bring more players into a series that time forgot. So, what's it like? A more basic version of Factorio crossed with Age of Empires. I award it 66 out of 100. Now, is it the Settlers really? Is this game deserving of the Settlers moniker? Absolutely. Despite having a more simplified production chain, the game does stay close to its roots and still has most of its Settlers charm intact after making the transition to a modern game engine, which is more than can be said than some of its predecessors. The simple fact is that this is such a great game, hamstringed by some absolutely bonkers development choices with the online connectivity that drop its score right down. It's still a great game and there's a lot of enjoyment to be had, provided you are online and the servers don't go down for maintenance. For more content, stay tuned to what'sitlike.com.au.